morning.
Good morning.
And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that holy, and all that is sacred, and in the warm and loving energy of this ministry, Spiritual Life Center. And if you're here for the very first time today or streaming for the very first time, we especially want to welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. We are all here by divine appointment. And the other divine appointment that might be coming through would be on your electronic device, and divine appointments can also wait. So let's please silence them.
And this morning we want to thank Shirley Brown for our beautiful floral for Father's Day today. And let's take a moment and start with some prayer. And so go with me in that beautiful space where we're affirming and we're seeing the world wrapped in the arms of divine masculine. And today, whether fatherhood was a planned, beautiful experience, whether it was a surprising experience, whether fatherhood and divine masculine has been a challenge for you and your own family or a gift, we see you wrapped in the arms of the best and the most beautiful and the most sacred elements of divine masculine. We see the planet wrapped in those arms. And may all beings today know one moment at least or more of the comfort of the steadfastness and of the beauty of divine masculine. And whether you had children of your own or you show up as divine masculine in the most beautiful ways that you are still learning about yourself, we honor all of those who father, who parent, who provide support, and are there for families and communities in our world. And so it is. And I want to introduce someone. Now, most of you know Julie Interrante, and some of you may not. But she is someone that embodies both, I think, divine masculine and divine feminine. She's a powerful teacher. She's a motivational speaker. She is a beautiful therapist extraordinaire, bringing out the best in all of her clients. She teaches, she provides support and programs for people learning about end-of-life care, and the list goes on, and you will see for yourself. So give a warm SLC welcome to Julie Interrante.
This week on WOW, the Reverend Deborah Phillips is going to be giving a microclass. Do you know who that is?
I do. She's wonderful.
Why, thank you. Yeah, I thought about this for a long time because I don't really like the idea of getting up and just lecturing on denial and affirmation for 20 minutes. So it's a microclass, and Louise named it that. So I will talk about it a little bit, and then we will practice writing out denials and affirmations, and then we'll do a meditation to sort of seal that whole thing. So it's just like a class in 55 minutes. So I'd love to see you there. The soup is at 6 and the service is at 7.
The salad.
Salad. It is summer, isn't it?
It is.
It was a little cloudy this morning. I got confused.
It's going to be a great time. And now, we have the summer splash coming up and our spring clean party. And here to share a few words is Pat Harvey.
Good morning. Recently, Carrie Freeman and I became co-coordinators of, we're calling ourselves the volunteer coordinators. So we just want to invite everyone. We are having the spring clean, of course, on the 30th, and that will be from 8:30 to 2. And we'll have coffee and some goodies for you to keep up your energy. Mostly will be indoor activities. And also the summer splash is coming up, and we still need volunteers to assist with that. So I will be out. We now have a volunteer table next to the welcome table. So please come join us, and it's a great way to make new friends and also support and take care of our home. And it's just a really fun experience. So please come. Thanks.
Thank you, Pat. And Elaine Leroy has something to say about raffles.
All right. Well, you know, it is our big summer splash, as she was saying, and would be remiss if I didn't really acknowledge some of the people that make it happen. So this year, our sponsors for the event is Leslie Lagio, Carol Van Bruggen, and Steve Kuhn. Leslie is taking care of the fabulous band, River Tribe, that we will dance to and celebrate the evening. And Carol Van Bruggen and Steve really made it happen to bring our guest of honor, Richard and Susie. They are sponsoring their travel to be joining us. So I wanted to make sure you knew that, and we recognize them for making that event a fabulous one already as part of our 21st. And I have late breaking news that was confirmed this week. How many of you were at our spring fling last year? Yeah, and if you'll remember, even the last couple of years, we've had folks who volunteered amazing vacation package, Worldmark properties that go anywhere, just practically over in the whole world. Dave Lyman and Rachel took advantage of that and won the raffle and went to Hawaii. Last year, Don Sykes in our choir won the raffle, and he and Paula are already scheduled for Fiji coming up. So I am here to tell you that we confirmed this week our raffle for the Summer Splash event. Claire Kinsley is offering again 7 nights anywhere in the world that Worldmark goes, and Robin DeLong is putting up the $1,000 cash to help get you there. So I am wanting to pre-tell you about that, because starting next weekend, we will be selling those tickets for a chance to travel the world. So it's already going to be an amazing Splash event, and I'm just giving you a little preview about that.
Thank you, Elaine. All right. And so, coming up July 21st, we have the Q process class. Now, Elaine and I facilitate that class. And we are always having people ask us, what is the Q? What does Q stand for? So we have just a short little video clip that we're going to show you. So be sure to sign up. And join us in finding out a little bit more about your own unique waves and particles. That's on the 21st of July.
And now we'd like to introduce some very special people. Will our ambassadors and chaplains please stand? Ambassadors wear the rainbow ribbons around their necks, and they are here to offer a warm welcome and to answer your questions and point you in the right direction or how you can get better connected here at SLC. Our chaplains are here to hold us all in confidential prayer during our human journey of joy as well as challenge. They wear the white stoles. They will be in the sanctuary and in the courtyard after service if you wish to have them pray with you.
And today we're going to ask you to raise your hand if you're here for the first time. In just a minute, we're going to hand you a welcome card. Our ushers are getting in place right now, and that welcome card is a wonderful way to get connected here. It's a way to sign up for our weekly email message and also to find out about different groups that we have that you can connect with. So be sure to fill that out and take it to the welcome table because they have some special gifts for you this morning. And we also are going to give you a special lei. So right now, if you're here for the first time, if you'll raise your hand and keep it up, here for the first time, that chalet has a blessing on it, and it says, "We believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that there are many paths to the one God, and we are grateful that you are here with us on your path today." So this is a great time where we can welcome our newcomers and say hello to each other. So let's do that now. Let's stand and greet one another.
All right, please stay standing and we're going to sing a blessed day, a blessed day. We're having a blessed day. All right, every week we learn a little something new about the Q process, and it seems so fascinating. I love the spiritual scientific aspect of it. And as I've been speaking about, and we've all been speaking about, we have done a community Q card to explore our shadow side as a group and what we've come here to be as a group. And so we are now speaking that together. So please join me. First, please have compassion for us when we are not being not enough, distrusting, grieving, blaming, powerless, and fearful, because this is who we have come to be, inspired, in integrity, joy-filled, compassionate, unstoppable, generous, and transformational. Yes, feels good to say that, doesn't it? And now let's embody the words as we speak together our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. And now please sing along with the choir as we prepare for meditation.
As we settle into this time of quiet, breathe naturally. Simply be aware of how you relax with each breath. Breathe into the back of your heart. Melt into your seat. Allow your vision to become soft and cloudy. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and silently affirm this prayer. Move, O God, in me. And now your awareness picks up the thread of the music. And notice how it becomes pure stream of energy as it enters your mind and your body. And now, allow this musical stream to flow into the middle of your chest and directly into your physical heart. The energy slowly rotates and becomes a spiral. It winds its way around your heart and expands so that your entire chest is filled with a spiral of healing, musical energy. As the spiral goes around, a small spiral arm separates out, rotates down your torso to fill your left leg and foot. And now another little spiral arm appears and winds its way down, filling your right leg and foot. As the main spiral spins in your torso, another arm spins off into your left shoulder, your arm, your hand. And then another arm spins off of this magical musical energy into your right shoulder, your arm, and your hand. And now the main spiral sends off one more arm up through your neck and into your head. You are a galaxy, and your heart is the center. It is the movement of spirit within you that rotates the central spiral and sends the arms of musical light into the far reaches of your body. Each cell is infused with this God-light energy. Every cell is active. Every cell wakes up and joins in this dance of love, light, healing. For a dance is what this is. The essence of God energy moves and circulates in and around you. Each cell activates the next. They dance with each other in the light of God, and they know every step of the dance. Your very essence is dancing with the one source, the light of light, the one and holy God energy. There is nothing in you but love and light. You laugh in the pure joy of dancing with Spirit, never missing a step, of being in complete harmony with your source as you dance with your God in the silence. As you take a breath and begin to return to your physical body, please take in this final blessing. Oh, my beloved, God is moving by the Spirit, moving in all the earth, moving in each of you. Love, light, and healing, the movement of Spirit within you is perpetual. And though you may return to worldly concerns, you are never alone, and you shall always be lifted to new heights by light and love. Remember this always.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Well, there's the voice of Father. Thank you very much. Thank you. And more than the voice of Father, the heart of Father. So good morning. How are you this morning? Good, nice to be here. I want to say that this morning I feel a deep respect, a twinge of grief and honor at standing on the platform this morning to acknowledge fathers. The truth is, I don't have any firsthand knowledge at being a father. And so as a result, what I want to do this morning is I simply want to show you some images and tell you a few short stories about fathers. Fathers among us. Fathers that live in this community who are probably not noticed, not by most of us. Some fathers that are invisible, but are fathers nonetheless. So I want to start this morning by showing you Jamie. Jamie is 46 years old. He is dying of liver and pancreatic cancer. And until just a few days ago, he was homeless and living on the street. Jamie called Joshua's house, which is, as you all know, not actually up and running yet, but called Marlene Fitzwater and said that he wondered if he could get into Joshua's house. And of course, she told him that we weren't up and running, but that we would do whatever we could. This is Jamie. And so he has been living in a series of hotels. And just recently, as of Friday, his county social worker found him an apartment, and he will be moving tomorrow. But we have been talking with and supporting him and doing what we could to help him. And quite frankly, he's done a great deal to help us and to speak on behalf of Joshua's house. He has also, he's teaching us a lot, as always. What I want to say is just a few weeks ago, we helped him make plans to go up to Chico to see his daughter, who he had not seen in 15 years, who had just had a baby in January. And so he made, with Lyft, he got up to Chico, and he got to the restaurant where they were going to meet to reacquaint themselves, and he got a text from her saying, "I can't do it. I just can't. I wish I could, and I can't." And so he came home, and he was heartbroken. He is heartbroken that he is not able to reconnect with her. And yet he says, "It's okay, I know, I understand. Things weren't easy, and I understand why he can't." This is the face and the heart of Father. So we have more images, but before we go on to images, I want to introduce someone to you. I want to introduce to you a minister, perhaps the first time you have had a minister of justice on this platform before. Gail Filter is the photographer that took these images. And he spends time with Mercy Peddlers out talking to people who live on the streets. And I'm going to let him tell you about the next images that are all about fathers as well. He is a former prosecutor and is now an amazing artist and quite a humanitarian and a lovely, lovely man. I want to introduce to you Gail Filter. Is this on? Okay, good. So I'm going to use this. And there's that.
Which way's up?
This way.
Okay. Well, good morning. I've never done this before. Julie referred to me as a minister of justice. That is true, because I was raised as a prosecutor, so to speak, and the standard was that no one's above the law, nor beneath its protections. So to get this going, how I made the transition from being a prosecutor, working environmental and worker safety cases throughout the state, I want to share with you a closing argument that I made about 15 years ago. And it was about a father, a dairy worker in Merced County, who died at the bottom of a manure pit. And it was a gruesome death. He died of asphyxiation. The methane displaced the oxygen. And the pathologist said that he had probably 2 to 3 minutes of life before he passed. So the question for me, and the question before the jury, what was going through his mind the last 3 minutes of his life. So for the purposes of this closing argument, this will be Jose Alatorre. And ladies and gentlemen, in closing this, you've heard the facts of this case, but I should also point out to you, this is the last time that Jose Alatorre will be able to speak to you, and I have to speak for him. Am I right? You see the photo of Jose when he was married, and if you look at his face, you can see that it's really a powerful portrait, because it's rare that we ever see so much joy or happiness on anyone's face. And shortly after he got married, him and his wife, Marion, had Jose Jr. So at the time that Jose died, his son was 18 months old. But Marion told you that Jose could never get home fast enough to spend time with his son. So what was going through his mind those last minute and a half? A migrant worker, getting paid low wages, wife working in a McDonald's to try to start a family in this country. And my guess is, by looking at this photo, is that he was thinking, I won't be able to be with my son. I will never see my wife again. And what will happen to my son? So that had a tremendous impact on me. It still does today. As a matter of fact, the story, this case was carried all through the United States. And the New York Times writer who did the story on this case, it was a 3-part series, actually won a Pulitzer Prize for this story. And he quotes me in there where I used to tell my staff, environmental and worker safety prosecutors, get up, get out, and let's do the Lord's work. Because that's the way I always thought about it. So if you look at this slide over my left shoulder, or right shoulder, I guess both, you'll see that this is a photo I took when I first changed ministries from the Ministry of Justice to Loaves and Fishes. This photo was taken on Father's Day 2 years ago. And I looked at, and I was asked by Sister Libby Fernandez to come to the Loaves and Fishes and take pictures of fathers, so these fathers could send home their photos of themselves to their loved ones, to their wives, to their children. And I realized as you look at the statistics up there that we're dealing with something different out there. We're dealing with over 3,500 people that live on the streets of Sacramento, which are more people than reside in all of Sierra County. So that's a significant population. And I call that population Second City because I see it on a regular basis walking the streets in the morning. This is a picture I took at 8th and K, and the question for us is, could this person in there, or someone that we know, could this end up being your father? And several days ago, I think it was the Sacramento Bee, said that unless you make $27 an hour in Sacramento, you will not be able to pay rent. So we're seeing an increasing number of people going to the street, particularly old people like myself, which is at least a concern to me. This was taken Father's Day 2016. For me, it's always about the eyes. And in my photography, what I try to do is put people in their rightful place and give them the dignity that they deserve. And the one thing I've learned about walking the streets of Sacramento and seeing the homeless is that the eyes of the homeless are the homes of silent prayers. And a small act of kindness can answer those silent prayers. And more importantly, is these pictures, which you're seeing, may change how you see the homeless. Think about this for a moment. These pictures change the homeless this way that they see themselves. And that's what I tried to do. This was taken in 2017. The guy with the San Francisco Giants hat on, Tim, you're going to see a photo of him pretty soon. And it's kind of interesting what he looks like this year on Father's Day. The man on the left with the Vietnam hat on is Robert. He actually served in Vietnam, and he sits out on K Street, and he's an amputee. He lost his leg in the Vietnam War. And as far as I'm concerned, there should be no homeless vet anywhere in the United States. The guy with the basket is a guy by the name of John, who's about as old as I am. And in a sleeping bag, and his goods are in that basket. This is JP, and you say, boy, that guy looks familiar. The reason he looks familiar is because he was in the photo of the fathers that I took in 2016. And you'll see on the one picture, this may be the best picture I ever took of a homeless person with the mirror, because they can see themselves, and if you look at the hairstylist, you can see that the hairstylist is being influenced by being able to give that small act of kindness to JP, and look at how JP is looking at himself in the mirror. This is Tim, the guy that was wearing the San Francisco 49er, or San Francisco Giants hat. And again, you know, touching the feeling of someone who's not another homeless person, somebody who's of the community, reaching out and providing a haircut and a shave, you can see that it has just an incredible impact on Tim. This guy is John. John is an interesting guy, but it shows the before. He was pretty happy coming in. He's sort of mellowing out as his hair's being trimmed. And at the very end, if you look in that little corner of him looking in the mirror, this is one happy camper. And you can tell that the stylist has a certain sense of satisfaction in doing that. So it's about fathers. And I know for some people this is really hard to believe, but I see fathers on the street all the time, and they're not necessarily fathers that are no longer fathers. The photo with the family, the man's confined to a wheelchair, but he's with his family at Loaves and Fishes receiving a Christmas meal. Small act of kindness, and you can tell that this family is pretty well connected. The photo in the middle is Nico and Marcus. Nico's the guy with the hair going everywhere. And Nico has just gotten out of the mustard seed school at Loaves and Fishes, and his dad came to pick him up. And it's what a noble photo of a father and his son. And I don't think we do a very good service of showing that these people are really no different than you and I. They've just had some hard breaks, or they're suffering from some kind of mental disability. And the guy in the end, I forget what his name is, but I just saw him on the Christmas holidays, and that's only 2 of his children. The other 5 were sitting on the side. He's from Kenya, I believe, and he's here, and he just loves the United States, and he wants to become part of it, and his family wants to become part of it. And he's living a tough life. He's living off the street inside of a car with him, his wife, and his 7 kids. And this is where Julie picks up. So, see, the rest of these photos, Julie and I have taken. So
Thank you. Thank you, Gail. The photos are fabulous. So, in talking with fathers, we wanted to look at fathers from all walks of life, and this gentleman may look familiar to you. This is Rick Jennings. He's a councilman, one of the city councilmen. He's the father of 2 children who he describes as successful. When we asked him what were the 3 most important things that he felt that he could give his children, he said number 1 is love, number 2 is being present, and number 3 is Christian values, because they stand the test of time. For him, he describes himself as having come from a broken family, and he remembers at age 8, in his room crying because of things that were going on in his family, that he would never, ever leave his children, even if it meant he had to sacrifice himself. At 8 years old, he has a very strong memory of that. I believe that's part of what planted the seed for him to be the founder of the Center for Fathers and Families. And I don't know if you're familiar with that organization, but it is a center that supports fathers in learning the skills of being fathers, whether that's financial or whether it's showing up for their children, or they do support groups for fathers. You can find him on the website. This is another amazing father in our midst. What? Oh, yes, and he played in the Super Bowl against the Vikings. So, God, the most important thing, of course I would forget the most important thing, right? I know, how could we forget, right? The other thing that Rick said that I thought was really a wonderful thing is he said, I've always let my children know that their mother was here first and that she will always come first. And it reminded me of a quote that I've heard many times. It is that says the most important thing a father can do for his children is love their mother. This is Pete. Pete, it lives next door to Ross and to me. He was born in Trinidad, and he came to the U.S. With his parents many, many years ago. When I asked him what he believes is the most important thing to give his children, he said consistency, a sense of responsibility, and always being there. He mentioned the simplest things to me that embodied the heart of father. He said, you know, like when Joaquin forgets something at his mother's house, they share custody. He said, I don't get mad at him, I just go back and pick it up. Right? Even if I have to drive back. This is Maya, his daughter, and Joaquin, his son. And when I asked Joaquin, what have you learned from your dad? He said, well, you know, he's just my dad. And then he thought for a minute, and he said, you know, I don't know. I don't have words for it. I don't know how to say it. And he just stopped for a second, and he said, everything. And I thought, God bless him, you know. So this is Pete. And this is a man that makes my heart throb, as many of you know. This is my husband, Ross. And I want to read something to you when I asked him to write something about Father's Day and about his son, one of his sons. He said, about a week after we brought Ari home, this is his youngest son, I swaddled him in the blanket that would become his favorite. He later named it Regular. Isn't that great? In our small backyard under a dark star-filled sky, I carefully raised him as high as I could and took a line spoken by Kunta Kinte's father. This is the only thing greater than you, I whispered to him. I was proud, happy, and very grateful. Ari lived with us for the better part of 20 years. We often struggled, but managed to provide him with a good, balanced family life. Such was our thinking at the time. Swimming lessons at age 1, Montessori from preschool to 4th grade, weekend vacations at the beach, a trip to Disneyland. When he was 13, I won a sales contest, taking me and Ari to a 3-star hotel in Monte Carlo for 7 days, where he rode on the back of our rented Vespa across the French border into the Italian coastal town of San Remo. I let him drive through the lovely city where a nice Italian policewoman hauled us over for a chat about his age. We often struggled, but managed to provide him with a good, balanced family life. Such was our thinking at the time. Oops, I just did that part, didn't I? Okay, we didn't think there could ever be two more beautiful grandsons when Ari's sons were born. Ari does not speak to us anymore. Whew. It's been over a year now. According to a series of texts he addressed to me, we are never to speak or have contact with him, his wife, or his children until such time as he decides. I was his parent. We lived under the same roof in the same environment together for almost 20 years. I have culpability. What I don't have is knowledge of how he has reached the conclusions to exclude us from his life, his wife, and from our grandchildren. He has no will to communicate, so no dialogue is possible. This too is the heart of Father. When I asked Ross what he thinks are the 3 most important things to give his children, he said respect, not just for self or other people, but for all living things. Non-judgment, caring. Caring because caring is how love is made real in the world. This is Jim McDonald and his family. Jim is 67 years old, and he is experiencing end-stage Parkinson's disease. He has had Parkinson's for 16 years. He used to play the guitar and was a vocalist. He was also an RN and worked in home health care. Because of his experience in caring for people with Parkinson's, Jim always said, there is one disease I don't want to die from. It's Parkinson's disease. He helped Denise raise her 2 daughters from a previous marriage and their 1 son from this marriage, but he is father to them all. All of those children, I cannot tell you how easily they tear up when they talk about their father and who he's been to them. Their daughter, Jessie, said, he was always so laid back, I only remember him yelling at me once. And Jim said, oh, I'm sure it was more often than that. She said, I will always remember our skiing, camping, and hanging out. She said, he also tortured me with singing love songs to my mother. And then she said, oh, God, it still just bugs me. This woman is 35 years old. She's great. When I asked him what he thought were the 3 most important things, he responded, respect. Not just of family, but all people. I would request that my kids realize how important that word is in this crazy world. His second thing was communicate simply and clearly, and if you see something that makes you smile, share it with joy. Read a lot. He gave me 4. Money is a means to an end and should be given away to help others. When I asked him if he has any regrets, he said, I regret I didn't know how to communicate very well. I would reinforce how important that is. And when I asked him, knowing that his time is short, what would he want to say to his children? And he said, remember the ski trips and the camping. It was a way to pull the family together without having to pull. And then there are those who are fathers without children. This is a photo that comes from an article in the New York Times. This is something that is happening right down the road from us at the California Medical Facility. It is a medium security prison in Vacaville. This is inmates supporting inmates who are in the hospice. These are inmates who have decided to care for their fellow inmates when they are dying, and they are paid 32 cents an hour. This is a short little clip from that article. Inked in tattoos from neck to knuckle, Kevin Lyman rose from his bunk at dawn, pulled scrubs over his skinny frame, stepped out of his cell, and set out for work. The 27-year-old strolled down the long central hallway connecting the different wings of the prison, passed to the dining hall, the solitary confinement unit for violent offenders, and the psych ward. Pushing open the big steel doors, he reported for his morning shift in the hospice. Murillo got down on one knee. Oh, I don't have that picture, I guess. This is another individual. Murillo got down on one knee on the linoleum floor so that he was at eye level with the patient. He put tan socks on Figaro's feet, which dangled off the side of the bed, and gave them a squeeze. We're here for you. Anything you need. Now it's time to get some rest. Figaro said back, I've got a big brain. Did you know I'm a very important man? I'm the son of Hitler, and I work for the U.S. government on very important projects. Murillo placed a gloved hand on Figaro's shoulder, stood up to leave, and said, even people with big brains need to rest. You know, there isn't really very much that I'm certain of. But I am certain of one thing. Fathers are people. They love and lose. They create and destroy. They have messy, organic, amazing lives and are human beings. And so I'm going to ask you, if you would, for a moment to stand with me. And just simply taking a deep breath together. And allowing the idea of Father from all walks of life, to just be present in you in whatever way that shows up. I'm going to start by using my flute, and then I'm going to ask you to join me in a very simple blessing for all fathers on our planet. And so if you would just repeat one line after me, to all fathers. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. Aho. Thank you.
Wow. As we shift now, thank you, Julie. That was, Father's Day is always such an interesting time, and I love the way you worked with that. Thank you so much. As we prepare for our love offering, we remember that behind each gift is the true source, and that no matter how we give, in treasure, talent, or time, our gifts sustain this spiritual community, as well as making it possible for us to help and support other groups throughout the Sacramento area. And so with this in mind, let us say our blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
There's no mountain too great. There's no
And so, as we come to the end of our service, I'm looking, I can't find the reminders, Louise. Okay. Next Sunday, Reverend James will be here, and he's going to offer a talk called Add a Verse, and we are here to be how we are here to be service of spiritual ideas. And as we bless our offering, excuse me, you know, Julie, you threw me out of my body with that flute, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Each of us is a fragile miracle, evidence of divine creation and divine grace. We are each unique, unrepeatable gifts to the world. We are proof of divine love. And so we who are the gifts of creation bless this offering, these gifts given in love. Thank you, God. Amen. And let us join together in our peace song.